Good to see you. A month has passed from the last video, and I have made some progress with Alchemist. As a reminder, current public version is available for download through the link below. It doesn't have all the features, but it has a lot already. So, the water shaders. I really wanted a swamp area for more variety, and swamp area of course means water. I could have used some kind of animated texture, and now that I think of it, probably I should have. Instead, we have this water shader with waves, ripples and distorted images that allows for sprites to be partially submerged. I spent 3 weeks working on this, and while I'm kind of proud of the result, I also feel traumatized to the point where seeing water in any game causes flashbacks. The basic concept is as follows. There is a pattern of several waves, with noise introducing random delays to the wave, changing its shape. There are larger waves and smaller ripples. For each point on the screen, the image is distorted, pointing to a different position, based on wave height and its gradient. Additionally, semi-transparent color film is overlaid over the image, with transparency depending on how high the wave is. Just this alone took me about a week. And then there was another complication. You see, I didn't want the sprites to act as if they were completely underwater. I wanted reeds to stick out of the water. I wanted the main character to be standing up to his knees in water. I wanted snakes and toads to poke their heads out. That was an ordeal that took the next 2 weeks. I rewrote the shader from scratch 3 times until I got it. My first naive attempt was to use a mask to detect out of water parts of sprites. Just don't distort that part. Sounds simple enough, right? Wrong. This is what happened. The distortion of the image nearby causes it to shift around, and sometimes the shifted image displays what's supposed to be behind the sprite. But the shader doesn't know of anything behind, it only has one image, and in that image there is only the sprite itself, so the distorted image will be of that sprite and not the background, which causes a sort of shadowy double of the sprite, in the water where it has no reason to be. Most of my time was spent trying to circumvent this issue. I tried adjusting the distortion so that it never tries to point behind the sprite, but that caused some weird glitch-like patterns that I can't show because I was too frustrated to record. Transparency at the edges of the sprites was another problem that I couldn't get around easily. In the end, I gave up. There was no way to do this other than properly drawing the out-of-water parts separate from the submerged parts. But that took some major changes to the rendering function. While that was some serious work, in the end, I wasted a lot more time trying to avoid doing it. So this is the result. Images transition seamlessly between air and water, without any glitch-like patterns, and distort beautifully in the water, while remaining undistorted when not submerged. Meanwhile, I feel like a madman for making a shader imitating water depth in a 2D game with tile graphics. But what's done is done, and at least it's adequate. Also, there is a switch, in case you are worried about performance, to disable the distortions. It will save your GPU some calculations, but water will look significantly worse. Swamp is another early game area, along with the abandoned farm and Mage's burnt house. The story for this one is that some merchant lost part of his cargo while traversing the wetlands, and you could find and take it. The area is a path through the box, with some small islands, a lot of water, reeds, snakes and toads. It's generated in a way similar to the forest, with simplex noise to create an initial landscape, and drunken walk to form the road later. Shallow water slows you down, while deep water acts similar to the chasm. It's impassable, and you can sink something there. Unlike the pit, certain items float in the water, and so do the stunned aquatic creatures. Crystallized ones, however, still go down. Reeds are another harvestable plant, and toads are another kind of harmless little animals that have their own special movement animation. Notably, they only hop when on land and swim in a regular way. They are also faster than you, and traverse water without any penalties, same as vipers. The area consists of 5 separate levels, with an exit to the overworld at each side, and a prize in the middle. Various containers with trading goods, and a recipe book in one of them. The last of the Tier 1 areas is the one you might be familiar with, the Herbal Grove. It's mostly the same, a forest path that ends with a patch of herbs. But in addition, in the middle of the path there is also a backpack lost by the herbalist, with some herbs and her notes that serve as another recipe book. This completes the 4 areas where you are meant to find the Tier 1 recipes, necessary to beat the challenges of the later dungeons. As a finishing touch, I've added some expository dialogue to this series, mostly related to reaching the goal, but not limited to that. Abandoned Farm has the most dialogue due to all the potential variations. A less noticeable, but still nice change is a slight rework of animations. Before, if you took an action before the animations were complete, they were skipped altogether. Now many of them are played to the end regardless. For example, here I'm spamming the throw button, and as you can see, animations are cut off. Here I am doing the same after the update and they all play. The disadvantages? This way the events don't exactly happen on the screen in their real order. For example, scorch marks appear before the fireball has exploded, but I'm still taking this version over removing the animation completely. Additionally, I am adding the settings for proccing a shift that I showcased a couple of months before. I remember people having conflicting opinions over whether it's too quick or too slow and whether it's too intense or not intense enough. So here you are. Adjust both parameters to your heart's content. So, this is what I have for you this month. Tier 2 areas are my next goal. Don't hesitate to tell me what you think of those new additions or the game in general. You might also want to subscribe here on YouTube or on Twitter if you want more updates from me. See you!